name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to be trying to fix this Fluke multimeter here. This is model number 73 and it looks like a Mark III. So this was sent in to me by a viewer called Lee, and this is a little letter he wrote with it. It says, "Hi Vince, I picked up this Fluke multimeter from a car boot sale a couple of weeks ago. On trying it at the car boot sale it seemed like it was working, but on getting it home and trying it with power some major issues showed. Capacitance, I think he means resistance, seems to work, although I don't know if it's given the correct ohm reading, not checked. But the main issue is it's not reading AC voltage at all, and DC seems to give a reading of OL without power, or around 3000 when battery is connected. I've opened it up, one screw's already missing, and checked the battery, remove for posting. And fuses both seem good, that's as far as I went. I've googled a fault, but I couldn't find anything related. I did find service manuals and are available online, but I'm not sure I have the knowledge to follow them, likewise, and I definitely don't have your patience. Hope this doesn't give you too much of a headache and makes a good video. Keep up the great work, Lee." So big thumbs up to Lee for sending this out to me. Normally I don't accept donations, but when he mentioned this one I thought I've never done a multimeter on my channel and it would be something which is interesting. What's making the DC voltage so out? So for example, I've put a battery in and everything he said is correct. So if I was to go to here and measure it, let it just do its little self-test thing. Watch this. There you go. 2,600. Is it going up to 2,700 volts? Which is obviously impossible. If we go this way round, it's just saying OL. So it's not kind of coming up with a 2,800 like negative or positive. It's just open one way and this that way. So that's definitely not correct. Now, what else? AC doesn't work either. I checked that one. Millivolts I haven't checked because I haven't got anything that small. Ohms appears to work, and actually appears to work very well. So look, I was just testing these resistors earlier, and check this out. So this is 47 ohms here, and sure enough when I put it on here it seems to be accurate, 45 ohms. This is 220 kiloohms, and if I go onto here, again, see there, 215 kiloohms. So it seems to be reading the resistance okay. Now when it comes to this one here, it's fine for continuity, but yet when I measure a diode, it is giving me a reading, but it doesn't seem right. So to begin with, why is it reading now? Why isn't it OL? And then if I go across it, look, it's still, let's say OL, but it's giving me a reading, which is a bit confusing. And when I go this way, it is giving me a reading, so you can kind of use it, but that should be normally, I think, about 0.5 or 0.6, so off a volt. So that doesn't seem to be right. Haven't tried these two ones down here. Now I knew this was on its way, so I actually watched a couple of videos and read a few things online about Fluke multimeters, and everybody just says change the fuses over. Oh, there's a problem with your multimeter, check the fuses. But the fuses are okay, which I'll show you in a minute. The other thing which is worrying me is it's got the battery symbol up, and that means that there's less than 100 hours left on the battery that's currently in here. I put a brand new battery in here and I thought, okay, although it was measuring over 9 volts, let's try another brand new battery. And I've tried another brand new battery, and that's still up here now. Part of me is wondering, is the false readings coming because it's got a low battery, so it's unreliable? It's just the readings are well out. We're not talking about something which is just 1 or 2 volts out. We're talking something which is 2,700 or 800 volts out. So it's well out, but that is where we are. So now I have already checked the fuses, just like Lee has, and they are okay. So there's just 4 screws in the back here, but one was missing. Comes out there, all looks nicely made. Can you see this is where the 9-volt battery plugs in? And we have a huge fuse here, and this one here is 1 kilovolts, so 1000 volts at 11 amps, and it says 11 amps here, but I don't know whether it is 1000 volts, but it looks big, doesn't it? You know, it looks like the one that would fit in there. And if I get my multimeter, so we're going to have to use a multimeter to fix a multimeter. When I get this one here, watch, can you see? That's okay there. And this little one here, I suppose I should have unplugged the battery. So I thought I heard a doorbell there, it must have been this hitting that or something. Right, where are we now? So unplug the battery, let's pop this one out here. And this one is 630 milliamps, 250 volts. And look, this one's also labelled up 630 milliamps, 250 volts, and we've got continuity. So I think the fuse is okay. Now, another thing I read online is that it could be the resettable fuse. Now, I haven't looked up the schematics for this particular one because I found it hard to find, but I haven't spent ages looking. But I did find one for another Fluke. I think it was a 72 or 75 or something. And this resistor here is apparently the resettable resistor that protects everything. And this one here is supposed to be 1 kiloohms, but yet when I test it, it's not testing that. So I don't know whether this could be something that's throwing it or not. Or maybe because it's in circuit, maybe it is giving me a weird reading. But look, it seems to be in the megohms. There you go, 0.6 megohms. So what's that? That's 630 kiloohms, is it? I think it is. So, but anyway, that seems a long way off 1 kiloohm, doesn't it? Unless, of course, you see different multimeter. Could be completely different. So that is as far as I've taken the testing. So let's undo this screw here. And let's see if we can find anything obvious. Anything obvious anyway that might be causing this. Well, straight away I can see that this one looks all nice here, but look at this one. That looks a bit iffy, doesn't it? Also, there's a huge bank there that isn't actually connected. They look like, but they do look like they've been professionally cut. Yeah, there's some here as well. Right, but it's mind you, that looks corroded. This is water damage. But looking here, I can't see. Everything kind of looks to be okay. So on this one, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not at this moment in time. I'm less confident I'm going to fix this one. But I'm thinking that because a lot of my viewers are very knowledgeable when it comes to components, I'm thinking that it could be a revisit video. See, the back of this chip here looks a little bit iffy, doesn't it? Also around here, look, can you see a little bit? Looks like it's a tiny bit corroded just on the bottom of this one. I wonder if this has had a bit of a battery leak as well. There, that track doesn't look great. Let's give that track a bit of a scrape. Well, I mean, it's just taken off the top layer. It's not eaten through at all. It's just taken off a bit of the solder mask on top. I don't think that's going to be causing any problems. Right, let's pop the fuses in and the battery in and the leads in, and let's see now if we can mimic the fault. So we need to turn this. On. How many goes do I need to go round? 1, 2. Let's go to DC. So it needs to go twice round. That's AC. That's DC. Now this battery here I think is about 8 volts. So let's just try that on this one here. 7.9. And can you see if I go the wrong way, it will still give me a read and it will just come up with negative. So why is it so out? If somebody connected it up wrong, as in other words, if they had, for example, this red lead here and then attached, I don't know, like 240 volts into it or here, you think it would have blown the fuses. So why is this? I wonder what would cause it. See, I don't even know the specification of here. 600 volts. Would anybody be really putting more than 600 volts in? Well, I suppose it depends, doesn't it? I suppose if an electrician had it, you don't know where he could have been working. Maybe more voltage has got into it, but there doesn't seem to be anything that's blown. You know, when you look closely at each of the components, can you see? They seem to be okay. hold on, that's the same as this one here, isn't it? Well, let me measure this one. Let's turn it off. Well, actually, I'll just unplug the battery. There we go. Let's measure this one here and see if that also reads whatever it was, 0.6 megohms. Got a little crystal here as well. So that must be, would that be for the timing of one of these chips? .49, 0.62, so they're both in the megohms, aren't they? Or the kiloohms. Yeah. I think, oh, it reads different that way around. 0.63. Yeah, so they are reading the same, aren't they? So what? Well, look, we can definitely see a tiny bit of corrosion, especially down in this corner here, and also up by this screw here. So maybe I've just seen. Look at that copyright, 1987, John Fluke. 1987. So it's actually older than I thought. Let's clean it. Let's clean it everywhere, just in case, for example, some of the contacts here were not making a good contact, maybe corrosion got up underneath it. Let's give everything a clean in IPA. It's going to be using isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to be concentrating just on the corrosion bits here. But you know what, I might as well give everything a go, just in case there's some sort of like resistance between some of the components. Take the fuses out. Just thinking about it now, if the battery leakage was quite bad, because we've got a tiny little bit of corrosion here, is it possible that it's gone underneath here, because it did look a bit gunky, and maybe it could be shorting on the pins on this side here, giving bad readings? Because remember, the meter itself appears to be working. It's just like it's just giving like the wrong range, the wrong readings. Maybe that's it, you know. I'm thinking now it's related to battery corrosion. Also, look here, can you see there's a lot of corrosion on that solder joint there? But that is just for the positive of the battery terminal. But look at that one, you can really see the corrosion on it. The only things that don't look good are these connections down here. But they are really just anchor points, because if you have a look, you can see the trace for the positive goes up here, and the trace for the negative goes across this way here. So does it really matter if they were corroded? But possibly, I wonder. Because if you have a look here, it's very rusty, even on the board at the side here, can you see? I wonder, could it be possible if the positive and the negative here had like resistance between them, instead of being completely open, whether that would be enough to throw out the readings? So I might try to resolder all that. I'm just waiting for my soldering iron to heat up. Let's just go across a few of the components. So it looks like this one here is quite important, but we have got, let's just check what we've got on here now. See if we've got the same, yeah, still that one. This one next to it. Yeah, we've got continuity through there. Right, that red one's open. About these things here. Yeah. See if I can get onto this red one. It's testing the same as the other one. the problem I've got is that well, originally it is giving some sort of readings, so it makes me think that maybe something is out of spec rather than completely not working. See, watching a video, this is supposed to be like, plays an important part here. This is like a voltage divider. I don't actually understand how that works. But I think they're supposed to be quite expensive to replace. Just make sure none of these, I presume these are capacitors. Let's see if they've shorted to ground or not. Oh, hold on, okay. Unless they're not capacitors. One second now. Let's just try this one here. Where does that go to? Is it here? Right, okay, maybe they're not capacitors. I think I'm going to have to get the schematic and have a look at it. But first of all, let me clean up these solder joints here and put deoxit in here and see if that makes any difference. Right, so that's those ones done now. They look a bit better. So I'm confident that now I should be able to just go in between them anyway and see if there's any resistance there, shouldn't I? No, okay, so that has to be okay. So now let's do a quick test, and then what we'll do is let's try to reflow this that joint there, because I think the battery's leaked and I think it's gone under there. There could, well, I might even need to take this off. There could be corrosion underneath here, shorting out. No. No, that looks lovely. There's definitely no bridges on that now. And interestingly as well, it looks like it's been wave soldered. So can you see here, underneath here, there's a tiny little red dot, and also underneath here as well, can you see a red dot? So they're held on with glue, and then it's like a wave of solder, and as this passes over it, the wave hits it and just solders all the pieces onto it. Right, but if you have a look there, can you see now? Definitely no bridges on there. So now let's test it again and see if it's doing anything. Also, they're all soldered to the pads as well. It's come down to 31 volts now. And now it is giving me a negative reading. Look, that's positive. See down here? Hold on. Positive. Negative. So it's still completely wrong, but it's closer, isn't it? Oh, what is going on here? Do you reckon it's that chip? Does that chip need to come off completely to be cleaned underneath? Or is it just every time I clean it, I wonder, is it every time I clean it that it gets a little bit better? No, nothing. Right, is it to with the way that this is lining up? Maybe that has to be perfect. Let's pop it back into the case. Alright, so you see them, just see if it's still making the sound. No, well that sounds different, doesn't it? And it's still got the flat battery sign up. It definitely sounds different than before. No and no. I presume this is to change different ranges or something. Do you know what I don't think I've done? I haven't tried the leads, have I? So let's swap the leads over with my ones. It's really confusing me because you see, why am I getting different readings? Like now it's not doing anything at all. Let me just check these leads on here. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it. Yeah, the leads are fine. So what is it that sometimes gives me a better reading? You know, I had 30 volts a minute ago and now I've got nothing again. What is it? Is it that chip at the back? Well, I'm going to get some deoxit and I'm going to clean up this here with some deoxit just in case it is bad contacts. Okay, so I've got some deoxit now and I am just going to put it on the contacts here and this side here and just drop a bit down the other holes. Hopefully it will all work its way round. Right, see if that makes any difference. If not, what I've done is I've had a quick look at the service manuals and stuff, and apparently if DC is not working, which this one's not, it says that R1 is open, which is supposed to be this one here. RV1 or RV2 is shorted, which are these little Resistors, I think they're called, here. And then it says Z1 open or out of tolerance. Well, unfortunately that's this thing here, and I'm not really going to be able to do much about that because I won't have one of them, and I think they're quite expensive. And this is the annoying one, U1 bad or U1 loose or shorted pins, and that's this one here. Now the only reason I'm sort of doubtful, well, the only reason I'm worried about this one here is because when I reflowed it here, all of a sudden I got different readings, didn't I? So I wonder whether that chip there has gone faulty, because it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this. There's definitely been corrosion from batteries, because if you have a look in here, I haven't touched the back yet, and down at the bottom here there's corrosion here, and there's evidence of corrosion here. So I was sort of thinking it could be related to that. But saying that, the little traces that I've done so far seem to be okay. But what I could do is, I could go across, because remember this does have solder mask on it. So the thing is, everything looks fine. But maybe when I look really closely at everything, there might be a little break somewhere that's causing it not to work. I'm thinking at this moment in time it might well be that chip. But anyway, let's just go through this little list here, just to see if that brings anything up. But I have just done a few tests on them already, haven't I? Okay, so R1 open. So that's this one here. And we can see there that's definitely not open. Yeah. RV1 and RV2 shorted. So let's flip it over so we get a good reading. So that's this one here. And that is definitely not shorted. And it goes from here to here, these two here, and that is not shorted. Now S1, oh hold on, S1 contacts bad. S1, what's S1? I think that's switch, isn't it? The switch contacts bad, which I've been working on. Z1 open or out of tolerance. Right, let's go across this voltage divider, whatever this thing is now. So from there to there I've got 6 megohms. From there to there I'm getting a reading. From here to here I'm getting a reading. I'm just going to cross them all, but I don't know which pins are supposed to be doing what. Reading. Another reading. And remember, we are reading the ohms correctly, aren't we? Well, that's not giving me a reading the first two. It looks like it's trying to give me a reading. Right, okay, Z1, so that's that, and then U1 bad or loose shorted pins, which is this one here. Well, you know, according to that, I think that looks okay. But then again, I haven't got anything to compare it to. Let's now just see, now that I've put the deoxit in that, whether that's going to make any difference or not. Again, you see the battery symbols up. Maybe that's what I should be working on. No, so this is giving me the same reading as when we first all started. So maybe I should be concentrating on the fact that this battery symbol is up when we know that the battery is actually good. Because if you have a look here, you can see that we have over 9 volts in it. Oh, we're saying 8.9 now. Let's pop this out. There we go, 9 volts. Well, it's a new battery. I know before, I'm wondering if this is somehow draining it, because before it was, I'm sure it was 9 point something before. Yeah. Right, so let me put it in here. We know that the negative goes up to here. Let's go between there and there. Right, so that's 8.9 volts, that's fine. And then positive goes up. See, I can't see where it goes to, but it's quite a thick one, so I presume it goes to one of these prongs. 8.4 volts. 8.8, so it's probably that one there, isn't it? Well, let's turn this off a minute. So we're going from here. Where does that go to? I wonder if that goes straight into the chip then. Right, here and here. 9 volts, so it goes to there. Right, so if that goes to there, it's going to there, okay. I wonder where it goes to after that. Well, I suppose then it has to flow through one of these, doesn't it, to go on somewhere. So I'll tell you what, let's go to DC again, because that's where we want to be testing. And let's see where it flows to. So we know that this is definitely the 9 volts here. Yeah. Now does it go to this one? No. This one? That's 4 volts. 8.8, so it could be that one. Actually, all the ones there are 8.8. No, that's not. That's annoying. Why does it think there's a low battery? See if we've got any voltage going into this thing here. 5.6 volts, 5.4, 8.4 there. Problem is, I haven't got another one to test with. I haven't got anything to compare with. So 8.4. Yeah, if it wasn't working completely, it would be so much easier. Right, what I'm going to do is I am just going to check for continuity. I'm going to check for continuity between different points on the board. So I'm just going to put it to here, and I'm just going to go over various different things just to see whether it could be some sort of corrosion. I mean, this joint up here doesn't look very good. If you have a look at that one there. Doesn't look very shiny, does it? So that goes all the way from here. There's continuity though. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working my way around, just trying to test everything. I won't do it on camera until I find something that doesn't look right. Then after that, what I might try to do is I might just try to tap everything with a soldering iron, just in case it's a dry joint that I can't see. See, if everything was perfect, then I would suspect a component. But the problem is we know that there's been a little bit of corrosion on here. But that might not actually be affecting it. There still might be a faulty component, but what component is it? Okay, I haven't gone across everything, but the ones I've gone across all look to be perfect. But there is a few things that look a little bit corroded. So for example, if you look up around this potentiometer thing here, which I presume is to do with calibration, and if you look there, can you see there is, it doesn't look great around there, does it? And obviously we've got this screw here. So again, maybe there was a bit of corrosion up here or water damage or something. I think I'm going to go across everything with the soldering iron and just tap each of them, just to try to get them to reflow a bit. Maybe add a bit more solder to this one, or any of them that look dodgy. I'll add a bit of solder too. I'll do that and see if that makes any difference. See, all I'm doing here really is clutching at straws, because I don't know how to fault find this one, and I haven't got another one to compare readings between the two, so I don't really know what to do on it. And the components I'm going across look to be okay, but remember I'm measuring in circuit. But what do I take out every single one of them? It's going to be quite involved then. Anyway, let's just tap each of these. Okay, so that is everything reflowed on there. So if there was some sort of cold solder joint or something, hopefully that will have fixed it up. Nope. No, so it's different now than it was before. I don't know whether to take it any further. I'm wondering if I should just do it on a revisit. That probably does work, it's probably just because I haven't got it screwed in. Right, okay. I'll tell you why I'm finding it so hard. It's because, let's say this low voltage thing, I can't work out where to trace it from because of this rotary dial, because it's got so many on and offs. If it was just like one, then I could sort of trace it and be like, oh well look, it's 9 volts here and then it's 7 volts here. But it seems to be coming up everywhere, so I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to do that. Unless, let's take that out. Unless it's as simple as continuity. So we think that the 9 volts is going between here and here. There. Let's see if it goes anywhere else. No. So right now that is in the off position. So let's turn it to voltage there, DC. And now let's see where the continuity goes to. Right, so it's still between here and here. Right, so we've got something there. But we've also got it here and here. So that's annoying, isn't it? But should I go by that? So that goes through this ceramic capacitor here, down to here. Don't know where that goes to, but maybe I could look on the other side of the board. And here, and again I don't know where that goes to, but there is a big track. I wonder would it be these ones here? No, I can't see, you see. We'll just go across random other things, see if it's coming up anywhere. Right, so it goes through, that's a little diode there. Okay, shall we check that diode? Right, so it looks normal that way. Yes, that looks normal, doesn't it? And look at that, I've powered on the meter from my... I've powered on the meter from this one here because it's pushing 3 volts into it. Right, but the low battery thing, I wonder now if I was to put this in here. And now let's go to voltage. So between here and here, oh no, that's the positive, sorry. Between here, 8.8 volts, 8.8 volts, 8.3 volts. Let's go this side of the capacitor. 4.9. Now, should it drop that much? I don't know. Then we've got 4.9. What's it drop to through here? 3.5 to there. Let's go to the diode. 8.8 there. Nothing there. That's probably normal though, isn't it? So then that goes around up to here. It's got 8.8 there. I wonder what it goes to then. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to chase this 8.8 volts around the place just purely because of the low battery, but maybe the low battery has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's that U1 chip which is faulty, which is like throwing up that error there, so this might be a complete red herring. So I've been looking online, I'm still not really getting anywhere. Everybody's just talking about these fuses here, and more importantly these ones here. Now all the things are showing it's this one here, but I still haven't found the schematics for this particular one, the 73. So I'm wondering if this is the main resettable fuse. But either way, I'm getting continuity across it. And also, when I put voltage in here, it's coming up to this voltage divider here. So what I'm doing is, rather than messing around with this, I've got my bench power supply here, and I'm going to just put 9 volts into it here, and then let's trace it back from here. I know it's getting as far as here, but is it going any further than that? So I'm just going to turn on my bench power supply now, and well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's put this in here now. We're still on volts DC, and now let it do its thing. Okay, so you can see also it's not coming across in the camera, but it's kind of flickering weirdly. Here, you can't see it in the camera because of the refresh rate. I'm going to turn it on now, and I'm going to go all the way to 9 volts. 9 volts, right? So now we've got this stupid reading up here again. So now let's get my multimeter, and let's start measuring what we've got. So we're going to turn it over, and we're going to work from the red lead up. Well, we can work, yeah, we work from the from here as well. So here we've got 9 volts, good. So now it jumps up to this track here, 9 volts, 9 volts. Yeah, then it goes all the way to here. And it's down to 8.2, which is probably normal. Also it jumps across to here, let's measure here, 9 here, 9, and then it goes through that massive thick resistor to here, 9 volts there, yeah. And then from here it also goes to here. We've got 9 volts there. Nothing there. Now I need to double check what that is. Is that a capacitor, I wonder? Actually, let's just see if... I wonder, is that ground? 1 second now. Actually, let's not worry about that yet. So we've got from here, that one goes up to... So from here it also goes up via here, doesn't it? I wonder where it goes to after that, this one here. So that does go up to here. See, online it said to check at the first pin here, and if I check at the first pin, can you see I do have 9 volts. So if I just hold that on the bottom here, and if I go here, look, can you see I've got 9 volts. Then if I go to the next one, I've got 4.1, so I suppose it is dividing it down. Next one, 2.3, no, 3.7, hold on, let's go to that one again, 4. Can you see my meter's changing, isn't it, up here? Well, it did change for a second. Is it when I touched it here, I wonder? Yeah, so when I touch it, look, it changes. 4. Does this suggest that this isn't doing its job here? 4, so it seems to be 4 everywhere, doesn't it? 2.5. I don't know. I mean, it's giving me readings across all of them, isn't it? Right, so where are we now? Oh, I have got 9 volts there. Sorry, I just wasn't pressing down hard enough. Right, so I have got 9 volts there. So where does it go to after that? Because it's not going to anywhere on that side. So it looks like, it's hard to tell because you see they're hidden. They're hidden underneath it. Got 9 volts on this one, it could be that one there, couldn't it? Going to this contact. Right, so if that's just going via that, how is it doing any of the measuring? That's just going to here. Does it go through here onto somewhere else? See, is it this that's actually doing the reading off the voltage? Because, for example, when we turn it on with 9 volts, it goes straight to 30 volts. Right now, nothing. Now we'll go to 3000. Let's do the red first. Yeah. I don't really know what else I can do on this one. Right, what I'll have to do is, I'm going to stop filming for a bit. I'm going to just start measuring all the resistors and see if I'm getting readings off them. I might also get my scope and put it across. In fact, I could try and do that now. I might get the scope and put it across this little crystal here. But I reckon the crystal is going to be working, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to do the continuity or anything, would it? It's definitely showing something there. If you have a look here now, this is 33 kilohertz. So, that looks to be normal, doesn't it? It's doing something, isn't it? 33 kilohertz. I suppose I could check on the schematics, see if it's going to be doing that. Let's check the other leg. Yeah, 33 kilohertz. I'm happy that there is working. Right, so here's the schematic. I don't think it's exactly the same as my one, but if you have a look here at the crystal, 32.7 kilohertz. So that all looks to be okay. So obviously there's going to be some of you watching this now who it will be really clear, but at this moment in time I just don't know what to, I don't know where to take it. So this is where I was taking in the voltage, you know, on the red cable coming in. It goes through that resettable, refusable resistor, and then it goes through, they are, I think, are they the Resistors? And then you see this is that voltage divider here, but mine's got more than 7 pins. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mine's got, I don't know, 8 or 9 pins. So I can't really follow it through, and then it goes through. You see another one of those big resistors going down here to E1. This is the switch. It says switch front. It also says rear switch here. So I'm not too sure. It's all a little bit confusing as far as I can see. But this is the big chip here, and then this is the other chip that goes straight to the LCD. So I'm happy that that's all working fine. I think the problem's either with the voltage divider or this big chip. But I'm just guessing. You can buy the voltage divider. I think they're about £30. So that is possible. But I'm presuming that chip there is going to, well, it's got Fluke written on it, so it's going to be made just for Fluke. So I think what I'm going to do now is, I think I am going to just test the resistors and stuff, see if I can find anything obvious. I'm hoping maybe that one's completely open or something, and that might be affecting it. But yeah, I'm definitely losing hope now, and I'm pretty sure that this won't be a fix-it on this particular video. When I go across with my meter here, they're all showing something. So these resistors, everything, there's a reading on everything, so they're definitely not just open. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start unsoldering components, because I don't know what a lot of them are anyway. And then I'm going to pop them on here and see what it says. Maybe this thing will pick up that one of them's faulty. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Ooh, look, I'm getting excited. So the first thing I took off was this one here, and this is actually a resistor. I can't remember what it was, 1850 ohm I think. And then I thought, well okay, looking back at the schematics, remember it then went through to Resistors, the kind of rectangle bit with the line zigzagging through it. And look, I've taken off the top one here. Now maybe it's because it's still warm, but look, it's an unknown part. Now I don't know whether this thing picks up Resistors or not, so I'm going to take off the other one and see if that tests differently. I mean, on the testing earlier it just said to make sure they weren't shorted, but that's not showing anything. So now let's take off this one and hopefully this might show something. No, so maybe they don't show anything. Right, I'm going to just go into Google and I'm going to see how to test a varistor. No, okay. Well, it'd be highly unlikely that they're both faulty. So, I've got my hopes up there. No, unfortunately, there's nothing wrong with them. They're supposed to test open. I don't think there's an easy way to test them apart from checking to see if they're shorted. And if they've shorted, then they're faulty. So I think the idea of this varistor is that they're here as a protection, so then if high voltage was to come through, so maybe if you were to accidentally measure something a higher voltage than the meter can handle, I think then these two would conduct, so they're open, but when they get a high voltage I think they conduct and then take all that energy down to ground. So I suppose if you were to test them and they were to test short, then that would be faulty, but these are testing open, so it looks like they are okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to unsolder this capacitor. This is C1 up here. So this one is supposed to be a 0.022 microfarad. So let's unsolder this, and I think it said it was supposed to be a 1000 volt one. And let's see if this thing tests anything. Right, how am I going to test this now? This isn't going to reach, is it? No. Mind you, I can just test this with my meter here for capacitance. Right, I can't see any markings to denote what was negative and positive. Let's just test it both ways. Right, so that is 22 nanofarad, so I presume that is going to equate to 0.022 microfarad. Right, well look, that's testing okay, isn't it? That's testing okay as well, so it's not that. Do you know what I'm thinking it is? I'm thinking it's this chip here, because it's so out. Would it really be like a little resistor here or a little capacitor? But it's the main chip. Well, I don't think I'm going to waste any more time on this. I think I'm going to pop, well, I'll pop these on at the end. I think I'm going to get some heat on here. I think I'm going to take off this chip just to see if there's corrosion underneath there. Right, so let's add some flux around it. See, if you think about the troubleshooting that I looked at earlier, the troubleshooting definitely said R1 open, R1 is not open, and then it said the varistors there should shouldn't be shorted, and they're not shorted. S1 contacts bad. Well, I think the contacts on here are good, but I don't really know that, but they do seem to be clicking to the right ones when they go round. Z1 out of tolerance. It could well be. I don't know how to test that, but it is doing something. And then it says U1 bad or U1 loose and shorted pins, which is this one here. So really, I think I've kind of done enough fault finding on here. So yeah, let's go with this. Hopefully, I won't completely burn it up, so I will be able to get it back on again. Right, I'm going to have my air at 400. And I'm going to have my airflow 5 out of 8. Now I've got to be a bit careful on this one because it is glued in the corner, so it's probably going to come up. It's probably going to be very hard to take off. There we go. So it's the red dots that makes it really hard to take off. These bits of glue here. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a good clean up, and I'm just going to double check these traces on the inside here, make sure they all look okay. Right, okay, they're all testing okay. They're going to where they should be going. Each of these ones on the inside there's continuity between them. And everything looks to be okay, so I don't believe there's a problem with anything down here. I was hoping there might be corrosion under here. Now, when I was burning it off there was a lot of corrosion on this top section here. On this one at the top here. But saying that could have just happened now with me burning it off because I needed to use a lot of heat because of the glue here. But those top ones definitely look different than the ones underneath it. So I'm going to give them a clean up, but I think that just happened now with the flux burning. Wouldn't it be great if, for example, the battery did leak and just sat on that bit there and caused corrosion on these? But you'd think by me soldering it would have fixed that. You know what, I am ever so slightly hopeful because these were much dirtier than all the others. Well, let's pop it back on and see if it's made any difference whatsoever. Now I'm going to pop it back on just with the soldering iron. So I'm going to do it at each corner and then line it up, and then I'll put flux on it. Right, so that's each corner tacked. Right, they're all okay. So you can see now that they're all in their place. And so now let's put these other components back in and we'll give it another test. So that was that way round. Okay, let's see now if anything's going to be any different than it was before. It's all back together. So now let's see if that low battery symbol's gone. No! It's still there, and I can still see it flicking here, although you can't see it in the camera. So I know already it's not going to work, but let's see if it recognises anything. 3000 volts again. It's no different than it was before. I've spent hours on this and I haven't made any difference to it, but that could actually be a good thing, because at least it means it's not any worse than it was before. Let's see if it's still doing continuity. Yep, okay, and let's get a resistor. What's this? 100k and 220k. Yeah, 216. 97. Okay, look, it's still got its use. It's still exactly the same as it was earlier, which is good, because it means it's no worse than it was before. Because obviously, taking that chip off and stuff like that, you risk having to you risk damaging it even more. It's a real shame that. Right, look, I can't take it any further. Maybe it will get fixed in a revisit video. I think if I was to put money on it, I think it's not going to be fixed. I think the problem's with that U1 chip. But obviously, there might be some of you out there that have repaired this exact fault in the past. You might have worked with Fluke multimeters and you might know all about them. If you do, please, 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 please put it down in the comments as to what you think the problem is. I could replace that voltage divider. Problem is, it's a £30 part, which is quite expensive just for guessing that it might be that. If everybody says it's definitely the voltage divider, of course I will spend the £30 and do a revisit video. I just don't want to buy that just in case it might be that, because it's not the sort of thing that I'm ever going to use on any other fix again. It's a bit too specialised, isn't it? So yeah, unfortunately that is it for this video. If any of you know how to read schematics, you know what the problem is with this one. I'm getting the rogue reading here, but the other things here seem to be working. You might be able to work out via the schematic what the problem is. And if it all pinpoints to the U1 chip, fantastic. Please tell me, at least my mind will be set at ease. So I'm ending this video saying that I think the fault's on the U1 Fluke chip there, but please prove me wrong if you know otherwise. Now, big thumbs up to Lee for sending this out to me. Thanks for the opportunity to do this. I have enjoyed looking inside it. I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I got it fixed, but this is real life, and remember, in my videos I love it when I do fix things, but I still put out the failures, because this is real life. When I try to fix something, it gets pushed out there. Sometimes I fix it, sometimes I don't, and it means then when I do fix things, I think it's slightly more interesting to watch, because at the beginning of the video you never know whether I am going to fix something or not. If all you've seen was successes, then it might be a bit boring, because I think a lot of the challenge is the trying to fix rather than seeing the item working itself. That's what I think anyway. I know I will get the comments off, thanks, can I have my hour back please, etc, etc. But it is called a trying to fix video, so that's the clue is in the title there. Yeah, you know, I wish the outcome was different, but that is life. So I'm going to have to leave it there. Apologies for not getting it working. I did try my very, very best, but this little 1987 Fluke meter beats me good and proper. If you got any enjoyment from it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care. Bye now.